Hello, my name is Annette and this is Project Refine Life. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm here to share with you some tarot and oracle decks that I utilize when doing ancestral work. As you can see, I'm standing in front of my altar, my ofrenda for Dia de los Muertos. This is a very important time for me. It has helped me heal, and bringing in that element of tarot and oracle has been amazing for me. So I wanted to share with you some of the decks that I utilize, as well as a few books. So join me as we go over some of the things that have been very helpful in my journey. So the first deck that is fairly new to my collection, and actually I'm really just going to start working with this. I've been reviewing this, and this is a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. This is the Tarot of Yohualli, and what that translates to is the Tarot of Night and Wind, or Wind and Night. So like I said, I am still, well, I have been getting acquainted with this deck since I've had it, which is just a couple of months. But this deck, I'm going to try to get it in the camera here, is absolutely stunning. I cannot believe the quality of this deck. Now, for me, this deck is absolutely my language, my heritage. It is who I am. As a matter of fact, all of the decks that I'm going to show you here today are in direct connection with my heritage. So I feel like that's important for me. And I always say that because what works for me may not work for you. It came along with this beautiful, beautiful book. I'm telling you, this deck is something else. And this book is amazing. It's in English and in Spanish. It does have the words in the native language, which is Nahal, and then it does have the numbers in the Mayan type numbering system. But it is a beautiful deck, and it came in this beautiful bag. So if you're interested in this deck, you can find them at Mi Corazon Mexica on Etsy. It is a pricey deck, I will say that, but if this speaks your language, I'm going to tell you, you cannot go wrong with that deck. Oh, and then this little guy, I just got him this weekend at Dia de los Muertos celebration. So I'm very excited for him to be joining me. I haven't hung him up yet, but I thought I'd put him in the video because I really like him. So anyhow, the next deck that I'm going to be sharing with you is the Santa Muerte Tarot. These are the backs. Some of the decks that you're going to see here today are cross-referenced from my Halloween, my top Halloween decks. And this is by, I messed up his name the last time, Fabio Lestrani. These are absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. If these speak your language, again, wonderful deck to work with. There's also the Oracle deck. I didn't bring that one down for this video because I don't really use it in this respect. So I just left it upstairs. Okay, the next deck that I love to use during this time is the Marigold Tarot. Now, the Marigold Tarot can be found at, let's see, let me give you the website, 13thpress.com. It is, again, one of the decks that I mentioned in my top Halloween decks. And again, beautiful deck, wonderful artwork. And again, this one, it speaks to me. It helps me get the messages that I need for ancestral work. So I'm going to put that away, and then I will bring out the next deck. And like I said, if I'm going too fast, I'm sorry. I just don't want the video to go as long as the last video that I had put up. Okay, so my next deck is Herb Crafter's Tarot. Now, I know a lot of people just couldn't connect with this deck, but for me, again, for me, this deck is, I just fell in love with this deck from the beginning. These are the backs, and these are the fronts. Well, these are the cards. Sorry about that. But this deck, this is like my abuelas, my tias, and look at Cacao. Okay. I do cacao ceremonies and facilitate cacao ceremonies. So when I saw this in the deck, I was like, yeah, bring it. I need this. But this deck is beautiful. And the healing of herbs and spices and all of those things for me, oh my gosh, like this speaks to me because this is healing for me. When I was young, my mother brought out herbs, and that's how we healed when I was a kid, is with herbs. And you know, that was passed down from generations. So I'm happy to have that deck in my collection. Now the next deck that I utilize is the Embroidered Forest Tarot. This is a beautiful deck. This is the first edition. She is coming out with the second edition. Let me show you the backs. There we go. So this deck is all embroidered. And I know there's no people in here, and it's kind of a pip style deck, but the language within the guidebooks, and I do use guidebooks because I want to know their take on things. So sometimes what you get from those guidebooks is so deep and so powerful and gives you a new perspective. It's beautiful that you can be intuitive, and I think that it should come into play definitely whenever you're reading. You should use your intuitive self, but also take a look at the guidebook, because if it's in there, they wrote them with specific intention for the deck, and this particular deck works for me in that respect. Now, I backed the Oracle deck. I'm waiting for that to come in. I'm very, very excited about that. So I think I'll be able to use that in conjunction with this, and it'll work beautifully. There is a second edition of this tarot deck that's being released. I believe you can pre-order it. It does not have the borders, which was very tempting for me. However, I've already bonded with this particular deck. So at this time, never say never, right? But at this time, I don't think that I am going to be replacing this particular deck because I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so the next deck is the Hoodoo Tarot. This deck is wonderful to work with. I don't know why that's up, but these are the backs. And like I said at the beginning of the video, every deck that I'm utilizing connects with my heritage. So I had ancestry tests done earlier this year or at the end of last year. And yep, I can definitely work with this energy. So this deck, what I love about it also is that it gives you the background on each and every person within the deck. And I think that's powerful. I love knowing I'm sorry, I bumped the stand again. I think that's powerful to know the person, their background. It kind of gives you an idea and an overall energy of the card and what it stands for, and I think that is so very, very important. The next deck that I'm going to be sharing with you as far as tarot is concerned is the Future Ancestors Tarot by Lexa Luna Studio. This is such a sweet deck, and it is in regard to, of course, the future ancestors. I really enjoy this deck. It's very simple line drawing, but the connection is beautiful. And this little white book, it's very tiny and it just has a few words, but it really does help you tune in to what you're pulling and what you're working with, depending on your answers or your questions. You know, I always, like I said, I always like to refer. I'll write down whatever my answer comes up to intuitively, and then I will look at the guidebook and take it from there. Now, future ancestors, why? If I'm working with my, you know, I have my Dia de los Muertos altar up. Why? Because we all know that time, or I'm saying, time is not linear. We have our future, we have our past, and we have our present. And you need to work on all of them to help your healing along. The next deck, now this is a brand new deck to my collection, and I do look forward to working with it. I just got it in the other day. It's the Relative Tarot. Now I know there was an independent version of this particular deck that was out before, and I do like the deck from what I've seen so far. I don't know that I'm gonna start working with it just yet, because like I said, it's brand new to my collection. What I do like is that it does reference right here. These are the cards that it corresponds with in the major arcana. And then over here, these are the cards that it corresponds with in the minors. What I find challenging about this deck is the guidebook, the way that it's written. There's, like I stated in the Hoodoo Tarot, what I love about the Hoodoo Tarot is it gives you background of each and every person that's in the card. I don't know if the information was in the indie version, but in this particular guidebook, there is no information about these people. And I would really like to know, because for me, it helps connect the story. It helps connect the energy. Why did they use this person? How did, obviously, more than the pictorial portion of it, how does that particular energy connect with this particular energy of the card? So I find that missing. But I must say, I haven't worked with the deck yet. I think what I'm going to do is work with it on a strictly regular tarot type way, using just basic tarot meanings, and then I think I will take it from there, and hopefully it'll work out, because I really do like the look of the deck. It's beautiful. Now, I'm bringing this out not because it is an ancestral deck that I use. This is the Northern Animal Tarot, but this is my absolute, like, there's the Gentle Tarot, which is my favorite, and then the Northern Animal Tarot, which is kind of like side by side, right beside the Gentle Tarot. I love this deck. I'm bringing it out because I don't want you to think that just because you're not getting specific decks, that's the backs, and this deck, I adore this deck. It is a Rider-Waite-Smith type clone, in a sense. It has all the imagery of the Rider-Waite Pixie's art, but just done with little animals. And this one, I love this little deck. I just love the way it feels. I love the way it looks. And then she included these beautiful little cards, like the moon phases and some other little shadow cards. I kind of keep them separated, and I work with them separate than the rest of the deck. But the reason that I brought this out is to let you know that you can use any deck you have. So as an example, I have the Zombie Tarot sitting here in my living room for Halloween. It sits out there. I can use a zombie tarot. It doesn't need to be a specific deck that brings in those specific energies or feelings or whatever. You can use any deck you want to use. For me, those help me call in certain energy. It puts me in a certain frame of mind. So that's why I like to use those. Okay, so now we're on to Oracle. I really don't have that many Oracle decks to share with you as far as ancestral work. But this one, the Threads of Fate Oracle, this is the Rose edition. This is such a lovely deck. So well done, the feeling. But where this deck hits it for me when it comes to ancestral work is the guidebook. This guidebook is deep, it is thoughtful, it is pointed, it goes through the elements in a sense. Here we go. We got fire, we got ether. And when you're working with your ancestors, I think it's important to include your elemental work when you're working with your ancestors. There are certain things that you need to include, and I believe that the elements is definitely one of those. Okay, next is the Jade Oracle. This is another one that I can't say enough about. I love this deck. It is by some beautiful ladies, Veronica Iglesias and Anna Kay. And the artwork is by Ramona Snow Tao. These are the backs, and this artwork, of course, it goes along with my heritage, with who I am, and definitely speaks my language. And again, the guidebook is in English and in Spanish, beautifully done. They do have a mini version of this particular deck, and you know me with tiny decks, I'll probably end up getting it. It's on my wish list. I haven't committed to purchasing the deck, but it is definitely on my wish list. Okay, a couple more things that I work with when it comes to this type of work for me are Milagros. Okay, so in the Catholic Church, or within the Mexican culture, we use Milagros as offerings on the altar at the church. If say I am having a problem with my vision, I would go and get the Milagro for eyes, and I would offer it at my church or on my altar at home to help with vision. So I would just place it there. Now what I have done is I have taken the Milagros, all the Milagros that I have in this little bag, I've given them a meaning. So I have written, in essence, my own guidebook for these little Milagros, and I cast them and add them to my reading. And they are very helpful. Again, speaks my language. So say you use ruins or bones, or there's so many methods of casting. I use Milagros. That, again, speaks my language. So I love it. Okay. And then the fact that I've used them, I've made this whole little guidebook for myself. They're special. I like them. I don't know that many other people are doing that, but I do that. Okay, so these wonderful little things here are called the Pacha Runas. And this is from a seller on Etsy. And these little wooden ruins each have your little invocation and a meaning for them. Cacao leaves or cocoa leaves, Ani, reciprocity. So as far as runes are concerned, like these, again, are within my heritage. They speak my language. So I use these a lot for that type of work. And I have really enjoyed working with these. They're very good quality. And so you might want to consider, you know, if you have something that you're working with already, what feels natural to you? Because it should feel natural to you to be able to use these, whatever you're bringing into this practice. Okay, books. Very, very important. This is deep and heavy work. I think it's important that you do some homework when it comes to working with your ancestors. So these are the books that I recommend. So we have Ancestral Tarot by Danielle Four. We have Badass Ancestors by Patty Wigington. And then we have Honoring Your Ancestors by Mallory Boudous. Wonderful books, great information. I can't remember which one, but anyways, find a book that resonates with you, because you want to have a little bit of a background before going in and working with your ancestors. It's deep work. It's healing for the past, for the present, and for the future. So you want to make sure that you're working with it correctly. Also, you're opening up space, and you want to make sure that you're protected. I'm going to go ahead and do another video that talks about herbs that you would use during this time as well. All right. So the next book that I would suggest when working with your ancestors and using tarot to facilitate that is this book, Ancestral Tarot by Nancy Hendrickson. This book is amazing. Love it, love it, love it. It will never, ever leave my library. I believe she even goes into reference as far as like setting up an altar. And yep, there we go. See, look at that. That is no coincidence. Creating an ancestral altar. I think it's also important that you set up some type of space. If you're going to be working with your ancestors, set up a space. If you don't have a big space, it's okay. Make it a shoebox. Make it a mini travel altar. Just find some things that resonate for you and your ancestors to honor them before working with your ancestors. I think that's really, really important. And you know what? I'll put together a little video on my altar as well. All right. So next book is The Four Elements of the Wise, Working with the Magical Powers of Earth, Air, Water, and Fire by Ivo Dominguez Jr. This is a great, great book. Now, if you have a book, or you can go online just to give you some guidelines as far as working with the elements. Like I stated earlier, in regard to the Threads of Fate Oracle, working with the elements is part of your work when working with the ancestors. You need to involve those elements on your altar space or within the space that you're working on your tarot, working with your tarot, whatever type of work that you're doing. Honor your ancestors, bring in the elements. I feel like it's really, really important. Okay, I think I covered it. I think I did it, and I did it in a much better time than the 13 Halloween deck. So once again, I do appreciate you coming out, or not coming out. I appreciate you. Not that you had to go out anywhere, but I appreciate you checking out my video, checking out the decks that I feel are important for me in this work and getting this work done. These are the ones that resonate with me. And again, it doesn't have to be any special deck. Even this, like my Milagros. For me, my Milagros, they help me with this work because it's something that resonates. So it doesn't have to be a special deck. These are just what I use. And like I said, just make sure that you are protected, that you're working with the elements, and that you have found a space to honor your ancestors. So get a little background on it first. But these are the decks that I'm sharing with you to do this work. I appreciate you taking a look at my video and spending some time with me. Also, if you need some healing, I offer Reiki online via Zoom. We can get on the phone and do this via the phone as well. I offer short sessions and hour-long sessions. They can be as detailed as you need them to be. So that is always an option for you. Also, if you need some movement to help you heal, I offer online yoga classes. Again, get in touch if you need any of those services. I am happy to help. And if you're within the Metro Phoenix area, I do ceremonial cacao. I do Reiki in person. I can go to you for yoga. Also, Rite of the Womb. I also do Rite of the Womb ceremonies. So if you need some ancestral healing, which we all need, in regard to that womb space, man or woman, doesn't matter. We all come from a womb. So I'm also available for that. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me and taking a look at some of the things that helped me with this work. Much love and peace to you. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, if this video was of any interest to you whatsoever, please like, please subscribe, and press that little bell so that way you can get notifications anytime I post a new video. Thank you. Much love. Bye-bye.